So Donald Trump predictably has now officially defied the Supreme Court and created a constitutional crisis. I predicted this. I told you all the moment Donald Trump was made president was the moment the Supreme Court was officially fired. When Donald Trump signed that executive order saying that only he and his attorney general can interpret the legality of actions taken by the executive branch, in that moment, and in that moment in particular, Donald Trump effectively fired the Supreme Court. Any and all adherence to their rulings was simply a courtesy. Simply I like you guys. You helped me. You gave me immunity. You're kind of my homeboys, but stay out the way. That's basically what that was. Donald Trump has basically rejected the Supreme Court's ruling for him to return Kilmar Abrego Garcia back to the United States. He's rejected it. And not only that, but Bukele comes to the United States to talk with Trump in public. And when asked if Bukele would return him, Bukele himself says, "How can I smuggle a criminal into America?" And Donald Trump basically rejects the idea of returning him. So what Bukele is basically saying is, without saying it, your court is telling Trump that he needs to bring this guy back, but Trump doesn't want me to. How can I smuggle this guy in? He's basically saying the United States doesn't want him back. You want me to smuggle a criminal in? Now, the United States does want Kilmar Abrego Garcia back because our Supreme Court just ruled that he needs to be returned because he was not removed with due process. Donald Trump is overriding the Constitution and declaring himself the law. He is declaring himself the law. The Supreme Court created this bed for themselves, and now they must lie in it to the utmost extent. That is the reality of it. Donald Trump sits there and decides not to obey the ruling, and now the conversation must be had. Exactly how far is this going to go? How far is the Supreme Court going to allow this to go? Is the Supreme Court going to simply LARP as legal interpreters, as individuals whose job it is to interpret the legality of actions taken by the executive branch? Are they going to LARP as that? Or are they actually going to stand 10 toes and say, we didn't study law for our entire lives just to pretend to be the Supreme Court? We're going to have to see. Well, you don't want to know what I think? I'll tell you what I think. I think they're going to LARP. I think the seditious six are going to show up every single day to work wearing those stupid, ridiculous fucking gowns they wear, twiddling around their little gavels in their hands. We're judges, we're judges. They're going to sit there and just pretend to be judges for the rest of their lives. They're going to pretend to actually be Supreme Court justices. That is their fate now, to just LARP. It's career day at school now. Look at the little niggas coming into work, coming into school in these big ass black gowns. Basically, it should be a trash bag is what it should be. It should be a black trash bag with armholes cut out and leg hole cut out. That's what it should be. It's basically career day at school. What do you want to be when you grow up, Justice Roberts? What do you want to be when you grow up, Clarence Thomas? That's basically what it is now. I want to be a judge. Don't even waste your time. They just gave all their power to Trump. All of their power. And now they've basically been internationally humiliated. Now their power is null and void. Now, they're pointless. Donald Trump is now effectively the Supreme Court. Because how can the Supreme Court enforce their ruling? Especially on this. Donald Trump deported a brown person who was accused of being a criminal. This is what MAGA was voting for. Is the Supreme Court going to defy Donald Trump on this issue? They wouldn't have any success. Liberals will of course, will back it up and try to support this and try to protect, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, and they'll support the Supreme Court's ruling. But the Supreme Court has to choose between being threatened by Trump and MAGA and possibly losing their lives, their livelihoods, and possibly even being Amazon shipped to Bukele's prisons, or staying silent, pretending like they didn't just get embarrassed and constitutionally BTFO'd. I can tell you which one they're going to choose. They're going to choose the latter. They're going to choose to go out like hoes. The Supreme Court just got hoed in front of the entire world, and they're going to take it. They're going to take it from Trump. They're going to take it with a smile from Trump. The moment they gave this McDonald's gremlin immunity, it was over. It was absolutely over. The Supreme Court is no longer supreme. They are the puppets of Donald Trump. They are a figurehead, a puppet head, a pretend piece. They're not there for any particular purpose. They are there to kind of make Trump kind of look legal. And now we see it before our eyes. The Supreme Court won't do shit. That much I can assure you. Where we are effectively right now in the Republic is Congress has ceded their power to Trump, and the Supreme Court has ceded their power to Trump. The U.S. government is now Donald Trump. The only thing I take some semblance of solace in is the fact that Donald Trump's leadership will be incompetent, it will be destructive, it will be chaotic, and it will be the worst presidency in American history. That much I know to be true. So I really don't have to worry that much about a successor. I don't really have to worry that much about, his family taking over. It's not that big of a concern. Once this is all said and done, the Trump name will be forever tarnished. That much we can all be assured of. The question is, how are we going to get there? Because it doesn't seem like Donald Trump has any intention of conducting himself like a normal president. It seems like he wants to be Kim Jong-un. So now it becomes a matter of seeing how far can Donald Trump go before the American people finally say enough. We'll have to see. The only button Donald Trump can press to actually lose the support of his base is destroying the economy, which he seems to be doing a pretty good job of right now. He seems to be doing an amazing job of destroying the economy. An amazing job. We're looking at a 60-something% chance of a recession right now under Donald Trump's leadership. And with his brazen tariffs, where he's bragging about it, it's going to be very difficult for him to convince the American public that it's Joe Biden's fault, especially given the fact that Donald Trump and his cohorts are just flooding the zone, as Steve Bannon would say. The downside of flooding the zone is everybody knows it was you. It's the equivalent of committing a crime and recording yourself, or hopping in the studio and talking about how it was you who did it. And I was wearing a black mask, and I had the yellow Timbs, and I had the gun pointed like this, and okay, well, crime solved. We know it was you. We know it was you. We can see you. That's effectively what's happening. We can see you. Flooding the zone has its downsides, and frankly, all I see are downsides. There are very few people even denying that Donald Trump's tariffs are having a negative effect. Now the argument is short-term pain for long-term gain. We will see what the mental gymnastics looks like from here. I suspect that once things get nasty enough, they'll blame Biden and Harris, and once things really, really get ugly, we'll see what the new explanation is for America's economic collapse. But yeah, constitutional crisis. Donald Trump rejects the Supreme Court's authority, and now we're living in a dictatorship. This isn't really fair. So if any higher powers are listening right now, if you could reverse the timeline or edit, go in the command console and edit something, thank you. Because what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? A political party driven by hatred and fear and corruption has corrupted every single branch of our government. Bro, Washington called it with that two-party system shit. All it takes is one political party dedicated to absolute fuckery for all of our lives to be ruined. Conservatives, you will be stopped, and I will do everything in my power to destroy conservative political power forever. This is not a battle against Trump. This is not a battle against Republicans. This is a battle against conservative ideology. The religious aspects of it, the racial aspects of it, the gender aspects of it, the legal aspects of it, everything about the conservative agenda is disgusting. It is filth. It is incompetent. It is ludicrous. It is insane, and it needs to be rejected, contained, and destroyed. These people are your enemies. Never forget it. Never compromise before them. Never try to be buddy-buddy with them. And never, ever give up a chance to defeat them ever again. Unfortunately, we made a mistake in 2024 by thinking if we just stayed home, well, I guess we'll see what happens. Well, now we're seeing what's happening. Now we can see what happens. Never, ever, ever give up a chance to defeat a conservative. Always, always, always take that opportunity. We as a nation I cannot stress enough the importance of making sure conservatives never, ever, 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 ever win political office again once all of this is said and done. Because Donald Trump is not the cause. He is not the source. He is simply a symptom that is symbiotically embedded in the conservative movement. He complements their disregard for rule of law. He complements their absolute inability to lose fairly. He complements their hatred. He complements all of it as just one big cherry, perfect cherry on top. He is a part of the problem, not the source.